control, and Mudawana, for example, in Morocco, is something which was controlled, but it was very interesting, because they were putting people from different trends and people from different, political affiliation, but also religious views. It was very good. It's a starting point. So I'm much more trying to take every positive step that we can see than just confront the governments. I will confront the governments on other things.
Merci beaucoup.
De rien.
Hi, I'm a reporter. My name is Neil Monroe. I work for National Journal. In the West, when we reporters talk to politicians, we press them for examples. And when they don't offer examples, we assume they're just, well, making empty promises. So you've talked about radical reform of interpreting the text. Shall we apply it to a particular problem? For example, marriage age for girls. That's a nice one. It's in the newspapers these days. It's a significant issue in some of the Arab countries, where the clerics have argued one shouldn't change the marriage age. So I'm not going to ask you what your recommendations are. I'm going to make it nice and easy for you and say, how would your radical reform of interpreting the text allow ordinary Muslims to
I'm
address
sorry, I've got to
problem?
interrupt. I am just told reporters are having their opportunity afterwards in a press conference.
And well, so now you have a new opportunity to answer my question in front of your friendly audience here or not. That's basically, how do you apply your logic to a particular problem? Any problem, if not this problem. And if not this problem, tell me when you will apply it in public. And I do understand the point you made in the last answer, where if you address things in public directly, it does cause problems. But we in the West, we like our examples up front.
Yes,
Go ahead.
No, it's a good question. And I think that we have to be cautious. What I'm talking about, the radical reform I'm talking about, it's upstream from, specific decisions. But as you are expecting, requesting, this should have impact on some of the decisions. Some of the decisions on the ground when it comes to filth. But what I'm trying here to say is that we need to think about the framework and the structure and the fundamentals of our sources. The main point for me is the text and the context. But exactly in this, when we come to trying to understand the context, and we go far from, tribes and what was the reality in the Muslim majority countries or in the old time where the tribes were there and it was you can marry very young. My position on this is that to take a decision by saying you cannot be married before 18, for example, as it was said in the Mudawana, I would push, first, very clear position on forced marriages. It's un-Islamic, unacceptable. Point. That's period, no discussion. Now, if you say this in our world today and say forced marriages is not possible, how could you say at the same time that when you are 12 or 13 or 14, you are going to be married with a completely autonomous decision? Doesn't work. In the light of the context, I would push for something which is the women should have the right to decide, and we should not marry them before they have the capacity to decide. So this is a clear consequence in the way I'm dealing with text and context, in the light of something which is quite clear in Islam, that forced marriages are not Islamic.
I'll come back to you later.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Joel Teitelbaum. I'm a retired, if you will, student of Islam, and my experience has been in both Islamic countries in the Maghreb, including Morocco, and Sharq, and in Africa. My question is this. Given context, as you emphasize, and the will of the people, if we can call it that, the sentiments of the people in an Islamic country or in a non-Islamic country, how do you deal with what I have seen in my own experience, which is the destruction of missionary churches in Western Sudan, complete destruction as a part of war, but also as a part of religious attitudes, and if I may say so, le minuet versus le minaret. Huh? The joke in Switzerland about they should have gotten rid of the minuet rather than the minarets. And you, being a Swiss citizen, perhaps you understand that better. Both sides are trying to destroy a physical structure in some ways of the other's practice of religion. If not actual destruction, prevent them from building it. How do you address this issue from your idea of context and text?
I don't need the context here. I come to the principles, and the principles are clear. Anything that has to do with the churches or the symbols of another religion should be respected. No discussion. So I would say that in Muslim majority countries, whatever is the political situation, whatever some, because this is the discussion I have with Indonesian friends. They were telling me, this is political, they are using religion against us. I said, they are saying exactly the same about us. You need to have a principled position. No distraction of any kind of symbols coming from or belonging to another religion. No discussion. So even if the people are not, they are, for example, Buddhist or Hindu, and you have symbols that in Islam we don't think that you can portray or you can, that's your religion as a Muslim, but you cannot impose this on anyone else. So this is something which is not disputable for me. This has to be respected. Now be careful. In Switzerland, it's not exactly the same thing. It's not the symbol of, it's the new visibility of the Muslims which is problematic. And say, this means that you are the other. So in fact, what happened in Sudan, for example, is that these are people from the country. These are Sudanese Christian people, and we are destroying something. No one said you are the other. So it's the religion which is threatening from within. So it's unacceptable. In Switzerland, the new visibility of the Muslims is used to say, you are not people who belong to us. You are colonizing this country. The pastor about with the minarets transform into missiles. This is all about you are threatening us. You are colonizing us. And we are saying exactly the opposite. You say by building mosques, we are just showing that we are settling down. We are at home. And then this is a discussion where this is political instrumentalization, which is very essential for all of us. Countries, politicians, intellectuals, nurturing the fear of Islam and Muslims and being ready to act against the very essence of the Swiss Constitution, the French Constitution, or the American Constitution. The most important, I'm repeating this everywhere, the most important danger for our societies in the West is not the Muslim presence, is to nurture the fear of the other and to act against your own principles because you are scared. You forget your principles. You forget this openness in the society, and we change the Swiss Constitution, we change the French Constitution, and we forget the American Constitution because we are scared of scholars or people coming. No, this is the point. This is very essential, and this is essential for all of us. This is why I would say the principle should be no discussion. We cannot act on this. And the second thing is let us coming together. This is what I call the new we. The new we is exactly this room. It's people, American, with a Muslim, non-Muslim, Jewish, Christian, atheist, all together in the name of our principles to be able to say we will not accept any kind of distraction of the symbols of, or the religious symbols of the other.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Pierre, and I'm from Egypt. And I think a reformer like yourself, I really respect what you're trying to do and stuff. But I think you have an obligation to kind of defend minorities in Muslim majority countries that are suffering on a day-to-day basis, that are not allowed to build churches, that are sometimes murdered, that whether they be Christians or Baha'is. And unfortunately, I don't hear anyone condemning these kinds of acts, just someone saying that this is not Islam. And I would just really like to know your position on that. Thank you.
Look, I think that